Welcome to Increase, where it is my task to increase, illustrate, and inundate you with information, knowledge, and overall help cause you to think. And I'm your host, Alpheus Gibbs Sr. Hey, everybody, what's going on? Welcome to Increase. This is episode 14, and I am so excited about you all and what we are going to accomplish this week. How is everyone doing? How are your day? How's your week starting out so far? Are you enjoying the weather? Like, what sort of things going on in your world? Here in my world, here in New York, it's sunny. It's a little chilly. But for the most part, the sun is out. It's a beautiful day. It's a great week. We want to start the week out strong. We want to start the week out prosperous. We want to start the week out focused. And so I thought no better way to start the week off than to start off with dealing with self-sabotage. The elusive Achilles heel of most who are going to be successful. Self-sabotage, and really it's for those who are on their way and they just have a unsatiable fear. We want to just talk about those things, kind of identify those areas where you, myself, anyone is self-sabotaging and causing themselves to not prosper like they should or not be as effective as they could be. And so I'm not gonna um really beat around the bush. I'm really going to share how not only I feel, but some things that I've done in research that will open up some avenues, open up our eyes to some things, to self-sabotage, because a lot of times we are doing it and not even realizing it. A lot of times we are, as a people, I'm not even just going to say myself or just try to single out a person, but, or gender or anything of that nature. But there are times in our life where we really are going against ourselves. It's like instead of you fighting the battle to succeed in the world or in the marketplace or in your relationship to end whatever habits or whatever, you'll end up fighting against yourself. You'll end up hurting yourself so that you'll prevent yourself from really achieving it. So, without further ado, let's get into it real quickly. So, the first thing that is on my list of things that causes us to self sabotage is holding on to baggage of the past. Oh man, hey, my son is on. I'm excited. So, listen, holding on to baggage of the past. When we begin to hold on to things that is behind us, things that we've gone through, and you're not looking at it from a place of reflection. You're not looking at things in the past from a lens of learning from your mistakes, but you're really holding on to the things that people have done towards you, how things made you feel, things that may have even set you back. And one thing is for certain: in order for you to elevate in your thinking, elevate in your career path, elevate even in your relationships, there's certain level of things you have to just really let go of. You're When you let it go, you're not saying that what they did was okay. You're not looking at it and saying, well, I agree with what they did. But what you're truly saying is that it happened and I can't change it. When you begin to understand how the things that you can control is right here around you, man, you'll start seeing yourself elevate. You'll find even more happiness the more you begin to let go of that baggage. Listen, if Delta and United Airlines and everywhere else says, listen, you can only bring a certain amount and everything else is going to cost you, what make you think it's not going to be the same way even in your life? There's some things we can carry with us, the memory, the love, all of those things. But then there's some other stuff that causes us to pay a price that we shouldn't have to pay or you shouldn't be paying. That pain, that anguish, that bitterness, that hatefulness, that, the bad attitude, all of those things, that stuff come at a cost. And the cost is your success in life. So you want to definitely let go of the baggage that is holding you in your past, holding you to an old person that you once were, and not allowing you to flow and walk and move into the newness of who you are. Someone said, if you hold on to baggage, you can move from it. And that's so true. Like a lot of things that has happened in my past, I'll say it personally. I used to beat myself up over a lot of decisions that I made, and when I thought about the things in my past, I only looked at the section of it that caused me pain and the part of it where I felt like I should have made a different decision. But I didn't look at it in its totality and really look at what I had to work with at that time. And that I'm looking at it from a position where I am now, saying I should have answered it like I would if it happened to me now, versus looking at it for what it was, looking at things from that perspective of what was going on at that time and what was available to me. So if you're in that position where you're self-sabotaging yourself by all every time you get ready to move forward in your relationship, every time you want to advance in your business or on your job, even holding you back from not going back to college or going finishing that degree because you feel like, you went to school before but it didn't work out, or you played around a lot and so you're afraid that you're going to fall back into that same mold and everything. You got to let that baggage go and really put yourself around people who are going to push you and support you, but also is going to be honest with you to help you to get to that level that you're trying to get to. The second thing is trying to control everything. People don't even realize how controlling they are. You can't control other people, and there are some things that happen around you and to you and through you. You have no control over. You can't make somebody love you. You can't make people respect you. You can't make people like you. You can't make people agree with you, no matter how much persuasion that you use. People have their own mind, and just because they are persuaded by other people doesn't mean that you automatically have that ability to do so. There's only a certain amount of people that you're able to influence. There's only a certain amount of people that you're able to give advice to, and they're going to take it. So what I'm really saying is that the self-sabotage coming trying to control everything is that if I can't control it, then I don't want to be a part of it. And that's going to cut you out on a lot of things in life. You're going to find that it's harder for you to try to control stuff that's out of your reach, that's out of your range. Like you gotta look at things and go, I can only control but a certain amount. And then if everything else is out of my control, that which is out of my control is not my problem. It's it's out of my it's out of my control. I can't You can't make people do stuff for you. You can't make people see your vision the way that you see it. But just because they don't doesn't mean that now I have to stop what I'm doing. You gotta push yourself to that level wherein come hell or high water, come whatever, I'm sticking to the plan. I'm going to make sure that I'm successful, because stabbing yourself hoping that the other person is going to come and bring you comfort is suicide. It's crazy, right? So we have to look at our life, look at our choices that we have in front of us, make the best choices that we can, control what is within your means, and everything else that is out of your control, you just have to let it go. And if it's to be and everything like that, it'll work out, it'll work itself out eventually. Some things that are out of our control is because it's out of our maturity, it's out of our discipline. When we mature to a place, one thing that I learned, and I was thinking about this yesterday when I was riding to church, and my wife was driving, and she was listening to some music and everything, and I kind of just zoned out for a minute. And while I was doing it, I was just really just reflecting on the word maturity and what it truly means. And when you mature from to another level, to another place, one thing that also happens is that you disqualify the old person or the old thing. So now, let's say, for instance, you're on your job, and now, you've been there long enough now where they can trust you with certain tasks to do. Well, now you can't go back to that old place of saying, I don't know, because that old person is disqualified now. He's or she is no longer available to be used. And so it causes us that as we mature, as you grow, that now it opens up new horizons, but it also closes doors behind you so that you don't go back to that and regress, but you continue to progress. And so our self-sabotage a lot of times is that I don't want to grow, because if I leave from here, I leave my comfort space. I leave the thing that feels most familiar to me. But in order for you to be the best person that you are created to be, you got to understand that there are going to be some things that you have no control over. The next thing is having limited beliefs. Like you really, as much as we want our friends to support us, we want our family to support us, we want our community to support us, or whatever. If you limit your beliefs within yourself and limit your belief in your ability, then people are only going to be able to influence you and to support you, but for so far, right? Our self-sabotage and limiting our belief is truly crippling us, and it really puts a shackle. You put shackles on yourself so that you don't achieve the level that you truly can achieve. It's like you have this idea, and then all of a sudden you start coming up with a laundry list of why you can't, and then you come up with another list of how you're not qualified to do it, instead of saying, you know what, I may not have the skill set right now. Let me learn it. Let me expose myself to it. Let me get in a room full of people who know more than me, but I can learn from them. Some of the greatest information I got came when I put myself in a position to not look like the fool, but really be that person that says, I truly don't know. And when people truly see that you're sincere in knowing that you don't know, but you're willing to learn, then you'll find that your vision that you have was only big because you were saying it to your friends. And the vision that you had was only big because of where you live, your location, your geographical location. But if you was to ever share your dream with some individuals who are doing what you're doing and hear their dreams, Your dream sound looks and sounds so small, but it's not something that conversation isn't to crush you, but it's really to open up your eyes to see that there is so much out here that can be done. My goddad always talks about automation, and he says the reason why you want to automate, Alpheus, is because when you begin to automate a thing, that opens and frees up your hands to do so much more. Don't say you can't do it, but find a way. There's always somebody looking to solve the problem that you have, and you may not even know it, but they possibly have the same problem that you're having, and you may come across them in your search for the answer to your problem or to your situation. And so I want to encourage my increased family. Don't limit your beliefs because of where you are, but you got to stretch your mind. You got to stretch where you are in order for your beliefs to reach levels that you never even thought possible. Ooh. So my godfather wrote, "You don't move forward by being the smartest person in the room." Exactly. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. It's time to get into a different room. It's time to be in a different arena. I love being around a diverse group of people, and especially those who appear outwardly to be intimidating, because outwardly they're intimidating, but inwardly they're some of the most nicest people you'll ever meet, especially when everybody's barriers are lowered. You begin to really learn so much from them. The next thing is being captivated by your fears, being captive by your fears. What scares you the most? You know, there was a rap song that says, "What means the world to you?" And they begin to list these various things. It was Cameron and Dipset. And in the midst of that song, every time I hear it, I never really listen to the lyrics anymore, because I begin to ask myself that question: what means the world to me? My question to you today is, what brings about fear to you? Are you having the fear of success? Are you afraid that when you start making more money than what you're making now, that you're going to be in this different tax bracket, and so now you're going to have to pay all of these crazy taxes? Are you afraid to open yourself up to love, not just because of past pain, but you have seen yourself in this situation that you're in for so long that you've just gotten comfortable being there, that you feel like you've reached the level that you're going to reach for the rest of your life? Are you afraid to step out and start that business, or step out and begin to get new clients for your business? Because the moment you begin to do that, you may feel like when you open your mouth that you're not as smart as some of the people who are around you think that you are. You're more afraid of like the imposter syndrome. Are you afraid to go back to school because you feel like you're too old and everyone in the classroom is going to be younger? And so you would rather um get books and read it at home, or watch a couple of YouTube videos and kind of just get by, instead of truly going back to school like your heart's desire to. What is making you afraid? What scares you? What keeps you in the box, instead of allowing the world to see this beautiful creation, this beautiful creature that is multi-talented, multifaceted, multi-gifted individual? What brings about such a fear that at the thought of the dreams that you have, you stand still and you're frozen like a deer caught in headlights? What fear do you have that mentally puts you into a prison that, and for some it's crippling, but for you it's a place of comfort, that you have found solace in prison bars, in a little small window, saying, well, I know I can, or I possibly can, but I'm past my prime. My time came and gone. I'm letting the next generation do it. What fear is holding you hostage? And what I want to share with you is that whatever fear you have, no matter where, in what category it's in, begin to incrementally make steps towards it. It doesn't have to be something major. You may do a Google search. You may find yourself going to a conference that deals with the very topic or the very niche that you want to go into. Go to a college campus and begin to walk around, begin to get the vibe of the college, begin to do college tours, and really begin to open yourself up to the possibility. Not really committing yourself just yet, but beginning to get in the room of it, feel the temperature of it. If it's love, for instance, begin to find yourself reading things that open your heart up to individuals who are truly doing it in real life. Not this stuff that you see on television, this scripted reality TV, but truly begin to look out, go to malls, or go to places where you see couples and everything, and just be observing. Go to the park, get some sun, soak in some of that fresh air, and just begin to be observant. Watch how your life will begin to gravitate and begin to pull you like a vacuum to the various things that you may even find yourself being afraid. You're absolutely right. We do have to push past our fears to be able to accomplish what we thought we couldn't. That's one of the key things about today, just dealing with self-sabotaging. Our fifth thing is comparing yourself to others. This is a great wording to describe how many people have decapitated themselves. And I mean to be graphic, because that's truly what takes place when you begin to compare yourself. Because in comparison, you never know exactly what that person or that couple have gone through to get to where they are. Sometimes the work of a marriage keeps people from getting married. They love that person. They adore that person. They truly see themselves living and dying, being captivated by the beauty, love, and genius of that person. But it is when they know that they are committed and bound by law and by God to be with that person, a level of fear comes over them, because now they also have seen the work that is required. When you're dating a person, it's easy to cut ties sometimes, because you're like, hey, um, I don't have to split half, and I don't have to deal with divorce, and I don't have to deal with so many of the other things that marriage requires you to go through when you want to break up the relationship. I get it. I get it. But comparing yourself and the horror stories that you've heard is being disingenuous to those who have success stories, who truly know what it is to suffer with each other, to be happy with each other, the highs, the lows, the sickness and in health, the richer for poor, the all that, and still come out even stronger. When we compare ourselves to other people, we cheapen ourselves without even realizing it. Do you know, when you compare your life to another person, not only did you put yourself on sale, but now you also going for buy one get one free, as well as with a coupon that says 50% off. Because when you compare yourself to them, you assume that you know every facet of that person's life, how they think, how they move, who they're around, what they have done, what they have not done, thoughts and things that they have happened in their past. You have been raised in the same household. When they got in trouble, you got in trouble with them. When you compare, you assume all, as if you know all of these things. You have experienced all of these things. As a matter of fact, you have lived in their skin. But when you don't compare yourself to people, then you allow yourself the ability to not only fail, but also to prosper. You also open yourself up to learning in multiple ways that oftentimes you would not have been given that same chance or opportunity. Comparison is one of the greatest self sabotaging techniques that is plaguing our society right now. And it is killing our creativity. It is killing our innovation. It is killing marriages, and it is killing family relationships, because people are comparing in places and in entities that they don't even realize that they're doing it. Not only do you compare your children or your marriage, you begin to compare your home. You begin to compare what you wear and what you drive. You begin to compare if you're a Christian or a Muslim or whatever. You begin to compare. Well, they must love God more than I do, or I love God more than they do, and you begin to compare so much that you begin to get nitpicky. And in your comparison, now there is competition that is breeding. And so instead of you being focused on your life and living it and enjoying it, you're spending the greatest days of your life trying to outdo an invisible person, or an entity that truly doesn't even know that you're even comparing yourself to them. Self-sabotage is hurting us in so many ways, and it is the cancer to your mind and to your spirit. The sixth thing is judging yourself harshly. I'm gonna say this, being on a personal note, whenever I would make a mistake, I would be so hard on myself. You know, whether it was calling myself stupid or I should have known better, so many other things. I come down on myself harder than any other person would. As a matter of fact, almost every job that I've had, whenever it came down to um it's like your reviews, to not only just for a raise but just to let you know where you are and so on and so forth, that they would always tell me whenever you get corrected, you could tell that you are so you are downing yourself in your head and in your heart. Not that your performance changed, but your countenance, the way you look, the way you talk, your volume in your voice, the tone in your voice, your posture when you sit and walk changes the moment we have our reviews. And so they would tell me all the time. That's why sometimes we don't want to tell you, your areas of weakness, because we know how you're going to treat yourself. But we've said all these great things about you, but you harp on the negativities of yourself. And so sometimes we judge ourselves more harshly than what we should, because sometimes it's not just that we were the bad person or the bad thing in the situation, conversation, whatever, but we also had some accomplices. And if you really was to break down frame by frame, so to speak, your life, sometimes we're taking on the um we take on the work and the conversation, the wording and the actions that other people did, as if we did it. And we take it on because in some kind of way you say, well, if I didn't do this, then they wouldn't have done that. Or if I would have said this, then they wouldn't have said that. And so no matter how much the blame should be spread out, you in essence bring it back into yourself, and you begin to judge yourself as if there wasn't a group of people, or whatever. So we have to stop self-sabotaging by judging ourselves harshly. The seventh thing is giving up. It is so sad to watch people work their butts off only to get right there at their blessing, right there at the point of breakthrough, at the point of whatever they're going to have, and they just give up. They just get tired. They just like, oh man, I can't do it. I can't work this job and my side hustle. Like I'm just gonna do my 9 to 5 and that just be it. Don't give up. Sometimes even in our relationships, you're like, I'm just tired of saying the same old, same old. I'm tired of going through this. And and one of the reasons why, it's because we're more focused on the problem than trying to come up with a solution to the root cause, not the symptoms that's being presented. Let me say that again. A lot of times your focus is on the problem. Oh man, this messed up. Oh man, this hurt me. Oh man, they said Oh man, they did this. Oh man, I shouldn't have did that. Oh man, I shouldn't have spent my money here. I should have did this. And and instead of looking at that, you still have breath in your body to answer not the symptom that's being prevented, but the root cause of it. And I'm guilty of this, I was saying this for years. You know, we want God to give us a financial breakthrough, but you got to change your spending habits. And as I began to learn financial literacy, I began to understand that it wasn't even my spending habits, really. It was because I had no idea what financial literacy was. I didn't really know what debt was. I didn't understand assets. I didn't understand liabilities. I didn't understand the spreadsheet. I didn't understand any of that stuff. I knew how to sign a check, I knew how to pay bills, but I had no idea about investments. I had no idea of what it truly was to run a business or what it truly took to run a household. And so, for many of you, you are looking up and you're like, man, I'm just giving up. I'm tired. And you really need to get yourself at a place where you can get some information, get yourself around some people who are highly productive, get around some people who don't make excuses, people who are, when they say they're going to do a thing, that they do it. You got to get around some people who value time, so that when you are going through, you have some reference points that can help you get through whatever you're going through, and you don't give up. Man, giving up in the middle of the fight is so damaging emotionally and mentally. We can You cannot afford to give up now. You can't afford to throw in the towel. You can't afford to just turn around and walk away. You got to push forward, push through it. Listen, if you find yourself in a place wherein you're like, I'm not, I'm stuck, I'm at a plateau, I don't know how I can shake where I am. All right, what's the root cause of where I am? What's going on? What's truly happening? Right? What's truly hindering me? What's my daily routine? That's what I want to ask you. You know what I mean? If I had all of you in the room right now, I would ask you, what is your daily routine? Your daily routine is what's going to dictate not only how wealthy you are, but it's even going to dictate the caliber of friends you have. Your daily routine tells so much about you, because human beings are creatures of habit. And one of the things that we don't understand, it's not the major things in our habits, in our daily routine, that tells people who we are. It's in the small details. When you're giving out orders, or when you're doing a thing, or you're giving direction, how is that tone in your voice? Because the tone in your voice tells somebody how serious you are. Or do when you're out doing a thing, right, and you're out wherever, and people are late or people are dragging, leave them. And I guarantee you, by the second time you leaving them, they're gonna understand, I need to bust a move when it comes to this person, because they value their time. They're not going to be late. Sometimes we look at things, and people value what you value. What you put your weight into and your attention to, they put their attention to. And so birds of a feather do flock together. So a lot of times our daily routines reveal to us why we're so close and so prone to always wanting to give up, while we're always looking at throwing in the towel. You start something, you stop it. What's your daily routine? And then who you talking to? Because if you're talking to people who are quitters, if you're talking to people who are not finishers, you're talking to people who are undisciplined. I'm telling you, you're gonna find that there are gonna be so many opportunities in your life where you just walked away, you just gave up. And it's because the crew you hanging with, they feed into the mentality that you have. That's why, you know, it used to be a saying that we would hear all the time, but misery loves company. And if misery can find you and get to you at a time when you're at your lowest, I'm telling you, you're gonna find yourself being a miserable, angry, sad individual. The eighth thing is constantly seeking validation. Can you post something? Can you do what you're doing and not get a pat on the back? Sometimes your best is just not good enough. Sometimes what you have created, it is nice because you're starting out, but there are some who are doing it 10 times better. And instead of using that as motivation to keep going, we use that as a personal attack, and we begin to sit down. You can't, there are going to be, seasons in your life where people are not going to validate you. They're not going to say, "Oh man, that was great. That's wonderful. Oh man, you really knocked it out of the park." There, as an adult, there are no gold stickers. There is no participation trophies. It's mind boggling sometimes on social media to see stuff that people post. And it's like, this is what you're supposed to do. You're grown. You celebrating because you paid your bills, or you celebrating the fact, that you're able to do some of the most simplest of stuff. Oh, I got all my clothes washed. You're like, okay, great. That means you're not walking around with dirty clothes. These are things that you're looking for people to be like, what? Like, why? Why are you looking for people to validate you on some of the most minuscule things? These are things that you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be a parent, a good parent. That shouldn't be some great feat in life that you treat your children with kindness and love, that you tell them that you love them, that you hug them, that you're concerned about them. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are things that we're always seeking constant validation, and I'm looking for the word that is even greater than, I would say, constant. You understand? We're looking for, sometimes people are looking for that. I just gotta have it. Like, you go into this state of sadness when people don't recognize that you're doing something that you possibly should have been doing anyway. 9 is expecting the worst from yourself. Expecting the worst from yourself. You know, and we see this oftentimes when you hear people talk about themselves before someone else talks about them. And though that is a defense mechanism, sometimes it goes overboard, and you begin to look at yourself and go, I can't do nothing right. You begin to look at, well, this is just who I am. And, you just have to love me right here where I am. And I love, people love you for where you are, but they're also looking for growth. They're looking for some effort to come out of where you are. Perfection cannot be found in man. We are flawed human beings. We're flawed creatures from the very beginning. But our flaws creates a hunger to get better. But there are individuals, and you might even find yourself at times being in this place wherein you're just expecting the worst. Sometimes because what people have said, but more importantly, because that's what you recite to yourself. You're like the character in the movie Life, can't get right. You just say, I can't, I just can't. Remove can't out of your vocabulary, because oftentimes when you're saying you can't, you're really telling people you won't. I'm not gonna do it. And then you begin to be a defensive about what you are saying. Well, I just can't. I'm just not. Okay, nobody's gonna argue with you. But don't be surprised when people don't want to be around you. Don't get upset when people walk away. Don't get upset when you find yourself 5 years from now still in the same place, still in the same mindset, same, nothing has changed, because you haven't changed. You still expecting the worst from yourself. You're steady looking at everything that you do as a negative. I get it. When you were young, people said you were stupid. They said you'll never have it. I get it. I understand it. I've heard it myself. People will always tell you that. And guess what? The same people who told you you'll never have it, you'll never amount to anything, they're living their life. Get some help, go to therapy, get you around some friends who are highly confident within themselves, that are secure in their womanhood or their manhood, or whatever. And you begin to learn some of the habits that they have and how that they achieve um, this level of confidence and move forward. Because as you continue to get older, people are looking for you to be at a different level mentally and spiritually. And so while you're still having that young mindset, like you have 40 years ahead of you, today is not, or tomorrow is not even promised. So you want to make the most of your life. You want to make the most of your day. You want to make the most of every opportunity that you have. And so you got to disrupt the conversation between you and you. If you minimize what you're doing, then other people are going to minimize what you're doing. But if you protect it and speak highly of it and go, listen, it may not look like nothing right now, but guess what? I'm going to get better. I'm getting better. I'm learning new techniques. I'm doing this. I'm putting myself in arenas and going to school or classes or whatever to get better at what is in front of me, what I have. Number 10, limiting your happiness to just material things. If you think you're going to be happy because you have a Prada purse, or because you have a Vera Wayne purse, or because you wear some Louis Vuitton or some Gucci slippers or whatever, I come to tell you that's going to be so temporary. You're going to enjoy it for that moment, but if you have nowhere to wear it, or you have nowhere to drive it, or you haven't even matured yourself to know how to keep it, maintain it, multiply it, man, you're wasting your time. Not only are you wasting your time, you're wasting a good time. Listen, you wasted your money. You can't find, you can't, you cannot fulfill your happiness with things, because it is not made to last forever. Happiness is found within. And the reason why you're limiting yourself, your happiness um to material things, is because the last thing, and it's the final thing for number 11, and that is because you have a lack of gratitude. You're not grateful for what you have. I've seen some of the most happiest people who live in paycheck to paycheck. They don't care about the material things. They could care less about wearing something new. They don't care anything about polo. They care nothing about Tommy Hilfiger. They care nothing about Calvin Klein. They care nothing about driving a Mercedes or um, a Rolls Royce. They care nothing about, having a G5. They care nothing about, going to Dubai. They care nothing about, vacation in the Maldives. They care nothing about any of that kind of stuff. They're happy just walking down the street and the sun is beaming on them, and they're getting fresh air, and they're walking their dog that's not a purebred or anything. And he doesn't have, or the dog doesn't have this luxurious leash and all of that, or whatever. It's just an old piece of rope, that they found in the garbage somewhere. And them and their dog is happy, or them and their cat is satisfied, on a couch that they bought from a thrift store, with a blanket that they've, quilted themselves and knitted themselves, excuse me, and they're just curled up, looking out the window while it's raining. They're at their most happiest right there. Happiness is not found in things. It's found truly within yourself, and it comes from a place of gratitude, just being grateful, just being thankful for just the simple things. The mere fact that you, even though you may have pain in your body, the mere fact that you're able to feel it is a joy. You say, well, how can I find joy in a place of pain? Well, at least I feel it, and I can do a little bit of something about it. Maybe I can stretch, or there's some kind of cream, or alter my diet. But at least I can feel. I'm happy with that, because there's someone who doesn't have that. There's someone who, there are people who don't have, who doesn't even know where their next meal is coming from. And even though something in the refrigerator may not be exactly what I want, I'm just grateful to have something to eat. Or I heard Shannon Sharp when he was doing his Hall of Fame acceptance speech, and he was talking about his grandmother. His grandmother wanted a house that didn't have a leaky roof. She said she just wanted to have one night that when it's raining and pouring down, that she could sleep and water is not dripping on her head or pouring down on her head while she's trying to sleep. Sometimes we take a lot of things for granted. We just This is how it's supposed to be, and everyone has the same luxuries that we have. But when you get a sense of gratitude that even your friends don't have to be your friends, and even though you have family who love you and will do anything for you, that they truly don't have to. They can do whatever they want because they have that choice. But because they do, you just sit back and just be grateful and thankful for it. It puts a different kind of joy to your day. It puts a different kind of joy in your day that, even though you may not even have the full strength to clear snow or whatever, but you're able to move around, and so you do it to the best of your ability. There's joy in just having that movement. There has to be a time in your life that you stop looking at yourself as being some superhuman and realize that no matter where I am or no matter how things are going, I'm just going to choose to be grateful. Because the moment I begin to get prideful, the moment I find myself at a place where you're demanding of people to do for you what you can ultimately do for yourself, you've fallen out of being grateful and having an attitude of gratitude. And now you put all of your stock into things. I'm not successful unless I'm making six figures, and I have a penthouse in New York City, and or Las Vegas, or in the California coastline, or that I'm able to travel whenever I want to. And you put so much weight on things that people can see, but internally you're lonely and you're sad and you're depressed, and you're wondering, does my life have meaning? Your life will start having meaning the moment you start getting to a place of gratitude. We self sabotage when we stop having that attitude of gratitude. So I just wanted to give you guys, 11 things to start your week off with. I know it's heavy, but I want to put that weight on your shoulders to let you know that these are some ways that we self sabotage and we really don't even realize it. But I want you to look at yourself and really begin to go, am I committing any one of these 11 things? And if so, let me correct this on Monday so that on Tuesday I could begin to implement what I learned on Monday so that the rest of my week can be amazing and can be awesome. I want to implement everything I've researched on Monday, so that by the weekend I can look back over my week and see growth within myself. I can look at my week and say, you know what? It was worth it. It was worth me listening to that podcast. It was worth me truly getting to the place where I know I should be. Because I believe in each and every one of you. You have beyond Michael Jordan talent. And it is the small things that hinder us the most, and it's not the big things. So I wanted to just give you some level of information to help you to overcome those things and even recognize in your life those places wherein you may be struggling with. I want to thank everyone who subscribed to our YouTube channel. Again, I'm trying to get to 100 so that I can change our URL, and in doing so, hopefully be able to reach at least one person to inspire them to be better than they once were. That is my prayer. That is my goal, to encourage and to give information to at least one person at least every week. So I can't wait to see you guys, talk to you guys on Friday. Meet me here at 1 o'clock on Friday so we can pick up where we left off at. I'm so grateful for you guys. Love you. Talk to you guys soon.